Okay, so I don't have a whole lot of time to do this because I have to go to work in a little bit, and the mailman just happened to show up at the last possible second for me to do this video. You know, the sort of thing where you're looking at your tracking information and it says that, it's going to deliver between 1:45 and 2:45, and you're hoping it's closer to 1:45 so you have a little bit more time to shoot your unboxing video, and then of course he shows up exactly at 2:45. Exactly. So he wasn't late. I can't complain about it, but I do wish that he had have been a little more prompt. If my mailman is somebody who watches this video, please don't take that personally. I'm not trying to give you a hard time. It's just my luck, man. That's all it is. So this is a first for my unboxing videos, in that and in fact it's a first for me personally. Is This is Dime Novel Legends from Chicken Fried Studios, or Chicken Fried Toys. I'm sorry. And I've bought some Chicken Fried toys before, so this isn't my first Chicken Fried toy. This isn't my first Dime Novel Legends purchase, but it is my first Dime Novel Legends figure proper, because what I bought from them was two of their Buckaroos and some of their what do you call these? I got another one over here. The Boot Hill Loot. I got a couple of those sets because I wanted to make figures of the Lone Ranger and Tonto. So I built those myself, but I hadn't gotten around to getting any of the actual figures until right now. And you can see I got Cavalry Officer. Yeah, he's pretty cool looking, huh? Like a real American hero, you might say. Yeah. This figure might look a little familiar to people who collected a certain military action figure line in the 1990s. Uh, but that's a coincidence, I'm sure. I'm sure they didn't plan it that way. This is an original character that exists in a Wild West setting, and he's the cavalry officer. And it says, first as mounted rangers, then dragoons, and then mounted riflemen, the U.S. Army Cavalry was a potent force used for peacekeeping and expansion in the American West. During the mid-century campaigns, the officer corps of this mounted force were often college graduates from military academies and schools with long traditions of training men for service, like West Point, that kind of thing. The cavalry officers of a company were responsible for the day-to-day management of the troops and resources, as well as ordering and executing mission objectives at the troop level when directives were handed down from senior officers and policymakers. So, and then we got company info. Chicken Fried Toys is a Dallas Fort Worth based two pony show. Sorry. So he is from Texas. Don't mess with Texas. So, sprung from the minds of two lifelong action figure collectors and enthusiasts, CFT is a shared, impractical, maybe even delusional fever dream come true. I can relate. These toy overlords, partnered up, that's spelled with a D, apostrophe D, with the very finest professional industry types. That's spelled with an apostrophe. It's professional. Uh, to pull out all the stops. Excuse me. In bringing their obsession with yesteryear to life. Stay tuned and don't touch that dial for more Western-themed adventures and shenanigans as you like it. So, like I said, I already had purchased parts to make the Lone Ranger and Tonto, and I was really happy with how those turned out. These are quality action figures. I already know this. Uh, they're really close in quality, I feel like, to Marauder gun runners, if you've had any of those, and of course, Boss Fight. They're very close in quality to those, and I think they use some of the same sculptors, which is why all three of these lines fit in with each other fairly well. I kind of feel like they're they're cousins to each other in a way. It's like there's a similar sort of mindset to these sort of independent action figure companies, and they seem to have a mutual respect for each other, which I really like. So I kind of feel like this guy, if he were a modern military character and not a Western character that's completely original, he would fit right in with the G.I. Joe figures that I made for Marauder if he were a G.I. Joe character, which he is not. So let's go ahead and open up the Cavalry Officer. Real quick, let's have a look at, there's a nice piece of artwork over here where we can see, he looks very much like the figure, don't you think? So, and then there's some cross-cell artwork on the back where we have various other characters who, most of these seem to be based on, like, historical characters. Like, I'm pretty sure that's Bass Reeves. I'm pretty sure that's Wyatt Earp. I see Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid and various other, historical characters. And some that are just kind of like archetypes. Like, you got the old prospector there, who kind of reminds me a little bit of Stinky Pete from Toy Story. I think most kids would kind of think of that, but also, like, reminiscent of Gabby Hayes, and whenever the Lone Ranger would don his, crazy old prospector disguise. I kind of want to get that for my Lone Ranger figures, just for that purpose. But let's go ahead and open up the Cavalry Officer, because I'm excited to have a look at him. I've been looking forward to this figure for a long time. Apparently, this was originally intended to be a 2020 convention exclusive. I don't know which convention. Maybe they just would have carried it around to various conventions with them. And I was really hoping I'd be able to get one, but of course, the virus of unknown origin, which shall not be named, that caused a lot of problems as far as, like, the supply chain goes and everything like that, and they weren't able to get this figured out until, like, 2 years after they intended to get it out. But I hope it's going to be worth the wait. I'm pretty excited about it. So let's go ahead and have a look at our Cavalry Officer. And he's got this button-down shirt, which I believe this is a separate piece that's glued on. Hopefully it would be fairly easy to remove, because I would like to be able to customize these figures, and I'm hoping that, like, whenever there's a piece that's, a separate piece that's glued on, it's kind of glued on lightly and easy to remove, so that way, if I wanted to do various types of cavalry officers, or even use this shirt for a completely different purpose, like, hopefully I would be able to do that. And it seems like the glove cuffs, I don't know if those are sculpted onto the arm or not. Sometimes with these, they do them as a separate piece and kind of slide them over. I can't really tell with this. And his wrists are articulated, like, right here, like right where the end of the sleeve would be, which I much prefer than having the wrist articulation up, like, at the cuff, the actual cuff. So, but I guess they have to do it this way because he's got the wrists that move up and down like this, which is good for a character that has a gun, because it gives him a little more posability as far as that goes. He does have 2 separate heads, and that is the first head. So get a good look at that. Let me see if I can get it focused a little better. And it is a nicely detailed head with a big mustache. He looks like a proper Western character. He's got this bandana tied around his neck, yellow bandana. This would be a good bandana to use on, like, an air cavalry officer if you wanted to make a modern air cavalry officer. And also, I think his hat would work really well for that too. If you wanted to make a modern style air cavalry officer, which this is not. This is a guy who would ride a horse. He doesn't even know what a helicopter is. I don't know what you're talking about. That hasn't even been invented yet. And you can see that he's got a holster on his belt for his gun and a sheath for his knife. So we're going to put those in just a little bit. He's got a Carillion blood stripe down the length of his pants, just like Han Solo. And there's a nice U.S. Belt buckle. Let me see if I can get that focus a little bit better. Yeah, it says U.S. on the belt buckle. This dude probably, like, fought in the Civil War. I guess he might have been on the Union. He might have been in the Confederacy. I don't know. I don't have any way of knowing. He is from Texas, so I guess it could have gone either way. There's another little pouch here at the back I'm not sure, like maybe that's like a little ammo pouch or something like that. And then he's got these 2 tabs here at the shoulder, and these seem kind of like loosely glued on. I think probably what they did was they probably did glue the things on loosely in case, you wanted to customize these action figures. Like, maybe you want a dark blue shirt, but you don't necessarily want to be a cavalry officer. It's going to be pretty easy to take these tabs off. And in fact, I don't want to mess around with them too much because I don't actually want to take the stuff off of this one. But if I buy another one to use as custom fodder, that'll be good because then I can do that. So, one thing that I really liked about this, I didn't mention it at the time because, I was too busy opening the figure and talking about other stuff. But one thing that I really like about this figure, the way it was packaged, is that all of his accessories are in this little baggie, this little Ziploc baggie. Not a baggie that's taped together, not, taped into the package, and it wasn't held in with any stupid rubber bands or stupid tabs. It's just a little baggie with accessories in it, and I can now take the accessories out of the baggie. So let's see what he's got. He's got his cavalry hat. That looks pretty cool, doesn't it? I like the detailing of the cord tied around there, and like the little knots in the front. Like, I remember when I was a kid, the first time I saw Smokey the Bear hat in real life was when a state trooper came to our school to warn us about, like, staying out of the roads and stuff like that. Don't play in the streets, or you'll get run over and flattened like peanut butter. I remember him saying that. But I remember noticing that those looked like peanuts on the front of his hat. I was really like that. So we got another head with sunglasses on there. I'm not sure why he's wearing sunglasses, because he's clearly a Western character that does not exist in the modern day. This is not a modern military action figure. This is a Western character. And he's got aviator sunglasses, which might seem to imply that he flies some kind of vehicle. But as we already established, helicopters don't exist in the 1800s. So they haven't even invented the airplane yet. So this guy can't fly anything. He's a cavalry officer. He rides a horse. I don't know what you guys are trying to imply. He's not a modern military character. And he comes with this nice 6-shooter, very long barrel on this. I don't think it's quite long enough to be a bunt line, but it's pretty close. If you ever seen those bunt line pistols, like those things look like the thing that the Joker shot down the Batwing in the 1989 Batman movie. Those things are huge. And then we got this cool knife. Very rustic looking knife. And the glare of my ceiling fan is kind of shining on that. So I'm going to try to get so we can see that a little bit better. It's got a nice shape to it. I really like that. And the detail on this thing as far as the paint goes is really impressive too. Like, you can see the bolts that are holding the handle onto the blade. Like, those kind of flattened in bolts, because it's full tang. I'm kind of surprised they didn't even have like silver edging over here where you can see like the edge of the blade, but I guess you can only do so much. It's a really impressive knife already. Like, I don't want to seem like I'm trying to, disparage it for not having that. This is a great knife. So let's go ahead and see how well his accessories fit. And it looks like the knife should be pointed this way because that looks like the shape of the sheath. And then he's got a cross-draw pistol. So that means his pistol is on the opposite side. It's turned around backwards for some reason that I can't quite fathom. It does kind of remind me of a figure that came out, I think, in 1983 in another action figure line, but that's got to be a coincidence. There's lots of figures in this line that have the gun that you pull from the left-hand side with your right hand. That doesn't necessarily mean this is an original character. It's a Western character. I don't know what you're trying to imply. What are you trying to imply? Tell me in the comments what you're trying to imply, because this is a Western character, not a modern military character. I don't know what you're getting at. So he's got the cool cavalry officer's hat. Let's go ahead and put that on him. See how he looks with that. And that's pretty sharp, if I do say so myself. I gave it a little bit of a tilt. This is tilted down, keep the sun out of his eyes. But you don't have to tilt it down that way. You could probably, I think it'll fit on there just as well that way, and then you can see his face a little bit better. So let's go ahead and pop on the alternate head and see how he looks with that. Our cavalry officer, who for some reason is wearing modern aviator sunglasses. For some reason I can't fathom. And I must admit, he looks pretty sharp when he's wearing that, doesn't he? Man, that is wild. Blue is a very prominent color on this figure. It's got a very rich, sort of cobalt shade of blue. I'm really digging that. He looks very cool. It's like an electric kind of blue. It just kind of leaps right out at you. And it contrasts really well with these sort of light tan, sort of beige gloves. The black pants, the brown boots, the brown belt, the gold neckerchief. All of these colors come together so well, and it's a very visually striking figure. I'm not an expert in terms of the Old West, and particularly I'm not an expert in terms of cavalry uniforms. So I don't know how accurate this is to to what a cavalry uniform would have looked like. But I do think it has a realistic feel to it. I can imagine that this is what a cavalry officer uniform would have looked like back in those days, and to me that's the more important thing, because it's not supposed to be a historical relic. It's supposed to be a toy that is played with, and it's supposed to be like something that's a vessel for your imagination. So if I can look at this and be like, yep, that's what a cavalry officer would have looked like in the 1800s, then it's done its job. It doesn't have to be, in my opinion, 100% accurate for that. So he's got this cool stand, which I know you've seen me hold up a few times throughout this video and haven't really done anything with it yet, but I'm pretty impressed with it. It's got the Chicken Fried Toys logo on there, and then kind of like a craggy, rocky desert terrain that he's supposed to stand on. So let's go ahead and see how well he fits in the figure stand, because I can, if you watch my Flash Gordon video that I put up, that one, like, it seems like this might be another example of this, is these pegs are a little too thick to fit in the holes of these feet. The feet holes are a little too tight. You can kind of wiggle them on there, I think. But that's about as deep as I feel like trying to get it right now, where you can see there's like a little bit of space there. But I still think this would be functional as far as like standing your figure on the shelf, just like this. You can see he's pretty stable on there. He ain't going nowhere. But I think I don't want to try to force it, because I don't want to take a chance on maybe breaking his foot. That would be bad, like if it split the foot because I forced it on there. So what I will do instead is, at some point, probably not right after this video is over, because like I said, I got to go to work, but at some point in the near future, I will probably hit his feet with a blow dryer and soften them up a little bit and see if I can work them on there. So let's go ahead and put the weapons into his hand and see how well they fit. And I'm kind of worried that it might not fit perfectly, just because I think these hands are painted, and that might have thickened them up a little bit as far as like the trigger finger goes. So I'm a little worried about if I can fit the trigger finger into this pistol. So it is a tiny little trigger guard that's there, and like I said, the finger is a little bit thicker than it would be if it were just molded in solid plastic. It does appear to be painted, so I can kind of fit it up, like just barely the tip, just the tip. I can just kind of fit the tip of the finger into the trigger. It doesn't go all the way through it, though. So it might be something that might be worth me trying to gently scrape a little bit out of the inside, and maybe I can get the trigger finger to fit in there. Like, it looks fine like that. If you look at it from this side, that looks fine. It's not like a deal breaker or anything. but I do wish it fit a little better. So, but I think I can probably fix it. And then, of course, we have the knife. So I'll put the knife in this hand, and then we can see him all geared up with all of his accessories. And I'm going to put it in kind of underhanded like this, except for I got it turned around the wrong way. That's embarrassing. You want the blade to be pointed outward. So, I think that looks pretty cool. So he's ready for action. So yeah, so that is our cavalry officer from Chicken Fried Toys from the Dime Novel Legends line. I need to get more of these figures, man. Like, these are great figures, and I want to buy more. I just hadn't gotten around to it for whatever reason. I guess I've just had like too much other stuff going on. But these are great figures. They're definitely worth picking up. I'm really excited to have this cavalry officer as part of my collection. Like I said, I remembered seeing the first images of him come out and thinking that he looked fantastic, and being really excited to have this figure because he's just so cool looking. I mean, look at him. So, and he'll go great with my collection of 3 3/4 inch figures, which of course is my favorite action figure scale at the moment. So that's the one I'm enjoying collecting and customizing the most. So I got a lot of stuff in the mail today that's custom parts. I got my latest order from Marauder, so I'm pretty excited about that. And I got another order from Gridiron Studios so that I could give Roadblock his proper mod deuce. I might do a video talking about that later. So anyway, that's pretty much it for this time. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and all the fun YouTube stuff down below. Please leave a comment. Let me know what you think about this figure, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye.